Stop doing what everyone else is doing if you want to spark real desire and attraction. This is why your current approach isn't working and how to flip the script and make them crave you like never before. Alright, let's be real for a second. We've all been there trying to figure out how to get someone's attention, how to make them think about us, and maybe even miss us when we're not around. But here's the thing, most people are going about it all wrong. They're chasing, they're over communicating, they're making themselves too available, and ultimately, they're pushing the other person away without even realizing it. But what if I told you that there's a way to turn this around completely? A way to make them not only notice you but actively seek you out and miss you when you're not around. Today, I'm going to reveal the 6 essential steps that will do exactly that. Trust me, by the time we're done here, you'll have the secret sauce to become absolutely irresistible. So let's kick things off with the first and arguably most important step, confidence. Now, I know you've heard it before, confidence is key, right? But let's dive deeper into what that really means. We're not just talking about surface level confidence where you're pretending to be something you're not. No, I'm talking about that unshakable, deep-seated belief in your own worth. This kind of confidence doesn't need to be loud or flashy. It's that quiet assurance that radiates from within. It's the way you carry yourself, the way you look people in the eye, and how you speak your truth without hesitation. Imagine walking into a room and instantly commanding attention not because you're the loudest person there, but because your energy is magnetic. That's the power of true confidence. But here's where it gets interesting. Confidence isn't just about feeling good when things are going your way. It's about maintaining that self-assuredness even when things aren't perfect. When you know your worth, you're not rattled by rejection or the fear of not being liked. And let me tell you, that kind of inner strength is incredibly attractive. People are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own skin, who don't seek validation from others, but instead project their own sense of value into the world. This is where you set yourself apart from the rest. When you exude that authentic confidence, you become unforgettable. You leave a lasting impression that makes them want to be around you more and more. They start to associate you with that energy, and trust me, that's something they won't find just anywhere. Moving on to the second step, let's talk about mystery. And no, I'm not talking about playing hard to get in a way that's cold or distant. This is about cultivating a sense of intrigue. See, one of the biggest mistakes people make is oversharing too soon. When you put everything out there immediately, you eliminate the element of surprise, the very thing that keeps people coming back for more. Think about it, what makes a great story captivating? It's the suspense, the little twists, the unknowns that keep you hooked, right? The same principle applies here. When you leave some things unsaid, when you don't reveal every detail of your life right away, you create an air of mystery that's impossible to resist. Here's how you do it when you're sharing parts of your life. Focus on quality over quantity. Give just enough to pique their interest, but hold back enough to keep them wondering. For instance, if you're talking about your weekend, you don't need to give a play-by-play of every activity you did. Instead, highlight 1 or 2 intriguing moments and leave the rest up to their imagination. Maybe mention an interesting place you visited, but don't go into detail, let them ask about it. Or talk about a hobby you're passionate about, but don't fully explain why it means so much to you. This way, you're creating a narrative that invites them to dig deeper, to want to know more about you. And that's where the magic happens, when they're the ones chasing the details, trying to uncover the layers that make you who you are. Now, let's dig into the third step, independence. Here's a little secret. The moment you make someone the center of your world, you start to lose your allure. People are naturally attracted to those who have a full, vibrant life of their own, someone who isn't waiting around for anyone else to complete them. So what does that look like? It means pursuing your passions, staying connected with your friends, and continuing to chase your goals, regardless of what's happening in your romantic life. When you're fully engaged in your own journey, you create a natural sense of distance, not because you're intentionally pulling away, but because you're busy living your best life. This independence is powerful because it shows that you're not dependent on anyone else for your happiness. You're fulfilled on your own, and that's incredibly attractive. It's like this. Imagine being with someone who has so much going on that their life is exciting with or without you. You'd be intrigued, right? You'd want to be part of that energy, that momentum. The same applies here. When you're focused on your own growth, your own success, you naturally create a sense of scarcity. And scarcity, my friends, breeds desire. They'll start to miss you, not just your presence, but the unique vibe you to their life. And that's when they'll start seeking you out, craving more of that energy that only you can provide. Alright, onto the fourth step, communication. And here's where most people trip up. We live in a world where constant communication is the norm: texts, calls, DMs, you name it. But here's the twist: less is more. If you want to stand out, if you want to leave a lasting impression, you have to communicate in a way that's different from the rest. Instead of flooding their inbox with messages, be intentional about when and how you reach out. Think of your communication as a well-crafted piece of art. Every word, every gesture should be meaningful and intentional. For example, instead of sending a generic "hey, what's up" text, try sending something that sparks curiosity or brings a smile to their face. It could be a funny meme that made you think of them, or a brief message that references an inside joke. The goal is to make your interactions memorable. And don't underestimate the power of timing. A well-timed message can create anticipation, and that anticipation builds desire. They start looking forward to hearing from you, not just because of what you say, but because of how it makes them feel. Another key element here is to vary the rhythm of your communication. Sometimes be quick to respond, other times take your time. This unpredictability keeps them on their toes. They never quite know when they'll hear from you, but when they do, it's worth the wait. And that's what makes them start to miss your presence in their life. They'll check their phone more often, hoping for a message from you, because they know that when it comes, it'll be something worth engaging with. Let's move on to the fifth step: space. This is a tough one, but it's absolutely crucial. Think of space as the secret ingredient in the recipe of attraction. When you give someone space, you're not just stepping back, you're creating a vacuum that they'll naturally want to fill. It's in that space that they begin to realize how much they enjoy your company, your energy, your vibe. Here's why this works: when you're always around, always available, there's no time for them to miss you. But when you take a step back, when you're not constantly in their orbit, they start to feel that absence. And in that absence, desire grows. This doesn't mean you should disappear or play hard to get. It's about finding that sweet spot where you're present enough to stay on their mind, but distant enough to let them feel your absence. Maybe it's about not being the first to reach out every time, or letting a few days pass before you initiate a conversation. Or perhaps it's about not always being available to hang out. Whatever form it takes, creating that space is essential. It gives them time to reflect, to miss the little things: your laugh, your insight, your presence. And when they do, that's when they'll start reaching out, craving the connection that only you can provide. Finally, let's talk about the sixth step: authenticity and vulnerability. This might be the most powerful step of all. In a world where everyone is trying to project a perfect image, being real, being genuinely yourself is like a breath of fresh air. Authenticity means showing up as you are, without the mask, without the filters. It's about embracing your quirks, your strengths, and yes, even your flaws. Because here's the thing, people are drawn to what's real. They're tired of the superficial, the scripted, the fake. When you're authentic, you give others permission to be real too. And that's where true connection happens. But let's take it a step further: vulnerability. Being vulnerable doesn't mean being weak. It means being open. It means sharing your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences, even when it's a little scary. It's in those moments of vulnerability that you create the deepest connections. When you show your true self, the good, the bad, and the in-between, you're inviting the other person to do the same. And that's where the magic happens. Vulnerability fosters intimacy, and intimacy fosters desire. They're not just attracted to the image you project, they're drawn to the real you, the one who isn't afraid to be seen. So there you have it, the 6 steps that will not only make someone search for you, but also miss you deeply. Confidence, mystery, independence, strategic communication, space, and authenticity. When you master these, you create an irresistible combination that's hard to find and even harder to forget. But remember, this isn't about manipulation or playing games. It's about being the best version of yourself and letting the right person recognize that. When they do, they won't just miss you, they'll crave you. So what are you waiting for? Start implementing these steps today and watch as the dynamic shifts in your favor. You're about to become the person they can't stop thinking about, the one they miss when you're not around, and the one they seek out time and time again. And that's it for today's video. If you found this insightful, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and of course, subscribe for more tips on building meaningful connections that last. Until next time, stay confident, stay mysterious, and most importantly, stay true to yourself.